probably already know that games from the 5th and 6th generation of consoles use Vertex colors to shade their environments. Even retro games made in the modern era, such as Silo Sybil, Cavern of Dreams, and Zero Myths Awaken, use this technique to really nail the retro aesthetic. But most 3D file formats only allow for one set of Vertex colors. What if you want to blend between textures using Vertex colors to break up the repetitiveness of a field of grass, or create a path through that field of grass? Well, now you can't use Vertex colors for shading because you are already using the one set available. What if I told you there is a way to get two sets, one for coloring and one for blending? That's what I'll be showing you today in this tutorial. By the end of the video, you'll be able to create a scene just like this one, with two sets of Vertex colors in Godot using Blender. Okay, so the GLTF file format has 4 custom attributes: custom 0, custom 1, custom 2, custom 3. And we'll be placing our color data into those attributes. Each attribute is comprised of 2 sets of UVs. UV1 and UV2 are already reserved by the file format, so you need to create those on your object. So let's go into Blender, and I have this little island that I'm adding to my scene. Okay, so if we go to the Data tab, we have our UV maps here. UV map 1, you probably already have one. We're just going to add another one. That's all you have to do, just press the plus button right there. But you need to have two UV maps because they're both reserved. If you don't put both of them in, then it won't work. And that's tripped me up a few times, so make sure you've got both UV maps there. So next we need to create 2 color attributes. And right beneath the UV maps, there's color attributes. So we're going to go press the plus button. And we want it on face corner and color. I'm from New Zealand, so I spell color that way. And so that's one set. I like to set it to white by default. Click add, and then we need to add another. And this one's going to be our mask. The same again, face corner, color. Color doesn't matter. And click add. So that's our 2 color attributes. And then we need to go into the shading tab and create the material. This material will only be used inside Blender so that we know what we're working on. It doesn't actually translate to Godot, but I'll show you how to make it. So we need to create a new material. Let's call it, I don't know, mask. And why did it not create? There it did. Okay, there it is. Cool, we've got our principal BDSF over here. And first thing we need is a color attribute node. So press Shift A, search for color attribute. There we are. And then here we select our mask. And can you? You can. Cool. So next we need separate color. Move that across. And then we're going to put these each into a mix node. Mix color, I think. Mix color, yep. Set that to color, set that to mix. Yep, that's that one. And we're going to put 3 of these and we're going to daisy chain them together. Like so. Take the result from the first one, plug it into A of the next one, and again, result into A of the next one. Now we need our image textures, so search for image texture. Okay, so locate your texture. I have, let's see, sand. That will do for the first one, and we're going to plug that into B. Is that right? Oh, hang on. That goes into A. Red up here goes into the factor. Green goes into the factor for the next one. Blue goes into the factor for this one. So next we need another image texture. Locate your next texture. I'm going to use my dirt texture. There it is, dirt. Plug that into B. So for the first image, this image will be represented by no color, so black. And the next one will be the one that is represented by red. So we've got red going into there. And that is this one. And then here as well, this will be the color for the image for green. So we'll put that in. So this mix node is being driven by the green color from our mask. So this image, whatever image you place in here, will be represented by green on our mask. And finally, select your last image. I'll get another grass texture. And that will be represented by blue. And then we take the result from the final mix node, plug that into another mix node, another mix color. We'll put that in B. So it's at the bottom. We're going to put in another color attribute. Plug that into A. And this one is going to be our color attribute. This one was mask, this one is color. Set the factor to 1. I've got mine on multiply, but you could set it to overlay or add. It depends on how you want to shade your environment. And then result into base color. So that's the material in Blender. And now, if we go to, let's go to layout. We go to Vertex paint, excuse me. And if we just, wait, let's make sure we've got mask selected. If we paint blue on there, blue is grass. Let's choose full red. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so now you can paint directly onto the mesh. You can see what texture comes up. If we want black, we go all as 0, and there's our sand. So I'm going to place some sand around the edges. Let's make it look a little pretty. Bit of a rush job, but you know. Cool, so we've painted the colors onto, we've painted the vertex colors onto the object. Made it look how we want. That'll do for me. And the next thing we need to do is we need to go over to the Geometry Nodes tab. Click on New. And this is where we actually export the colors to those custom attributes. So we're going to start with named attribute. And this one, we need our mask. And again, we're going to drag the attribute out into a separate color. And then red goes into a combine XYZ, like so. Just move that across. And then this goes into a store named attribute. And we're going to set this to 2D vector and face corner. And so if we remember, we've got 2 sets of UV maps already. And they are reserved by the file format, which means we need to start at UV3 because it doesn't start at 0, it's UV1, UV2, we're starting at UV3. And this needs to go in here, by the way. That needs to go over there. And those custom attributes are made up of vector 4s, but UV maps are made of vector 2s. So we need to combine 2 2D vectors to create one custom attribute. So we're going to put another UV map. And so these two UV maps combined will create the custom 0 attribute. You might think that you can put all three colors into the custom 0 attribute, but when you export the colors into Godot, the colors are all jumbled up and don't make sense. They become different colors, not what you want. Okay, so I've just tried testing what happens if you combine all of your color data into just one custom attribute. So I've got red and green going into this 2D vector, blue going into this 2D vector. These two combined make custom 0. And this is what the color mask looks like. We've got black at the bottom, light blue on top, bit of red around there. But then when we export it into Godot, the colors all get jumbled up. It's like it doesn't understand the correct way to decompose the colors. So we can maybe see what that looks like. It's kind of right. It's got the textures there, but they're not how I laid them out in Blender. This is how I laid them out. With sand at the bottom, grass on top, and a bit of dirt on the side. So it doesn't map one-to-one with the work you do in Blender. And so that's why we need to separate all the colors into separate custom attributes. So we have to separate each color into its own custom attribute, which means that we're going to do the same again. Get another combine XYZ. Copy these. Plug that into there, and this one into the value. And now we need to name this one. Oh, I didn't rename over here, UV4. This one is UV5, and this one is UV6. And we're going to do that one more time for blue. Copy these over into here. Plug that in. Did that get renamed? I swear I typed UV4. UV5. UV6. UV7. UV8. Let me just make this bigger. Have I been too far zoomed out? Okay, so we'll start again now that I've zoomed in. We've got our named attribute over here with the mask. That goes into a separate color. Red goes into combine XYZ. That goes into a stored name attribute with 2D vector face corner. We name that UV3. That goes into another stored name attribute called UV4. Then we take the green into a combine XYZ. Do it again, UV5, UV6. Take the blue, combine XYZ into another stored name attribute, UV7, UV8, finally into the output. And you can create another set of UVs with the alpha channel, because at the moment we're only using custom 0, 1, and 2. But I find that this is enough, at least so far. That's all I've needed. Okay, this is ready for exporting now into Godot. So we're going to go to File, Export, GLTF. I'm going to put it in, is that the right folder? Yeah, that's the right folder. And it's important that we select custom properties and apply modifiers and attributes. I can't remember which one of these is required, so I just tick all three. So we'll go export GLTF, and now into Godot. Okay, so here we are in Godot. We've imported our object, but you'll see that it's only got the sand texture on here. And that's because we need to recreate the material as a shader in Godot. So we're going to go to, click on our plane, select the mesh, go to surface 0, and we're going to create a new shader material. And we're going to create a new shader, and I use visual shaders, and name it, I don't know, mask. Click create. And the first thing we need to do is we need to go to the Vertex shader. And we need to create some variables which are going to hold the custom attributes. Because, hang on, let me try to explain. If we go to input, the custom attributes are not here. They're not in the fragment shader. So we need to go to the Vertex shader and export them from the Vertex shader into the fragment shader. And we do that by using varyings. So we're going to add a varying, and they need to be of type vector 4. Vector 4, yes, vector 4. I'm going to call the first one red, and that's going to represent the red channel of the vertex colors. And if you remember when we were creating the geometry nodes, we first exported the red into the UVs 3 and 4. UVs 3 and 4 are represented by this custom 0, which means custom 0 needs to go into varying setter red. Then we're going to add another one for green. And while we're at it, we'll add another one for blue. Control C, Control V. This one's going to be custom 1 for green, custom 2 for blue. So now we can access these vector 4s in the fragment shader. So we start by adding a varying getter. We're going to get red. So now we've got our varying getter for red. We can select this little arrow here, and we're going to take the red channel, which is the only one that has any data in it. If you remember in the geometry nodes, we put red into X. That's the only place we put any data. That goes into this vector 2. And then we create another vector 2 with 0, 0, 0, or just 0, 0. So the only field that has any data is the first value in that custom attribute. So next we need a mix node, mix vector 3 mix, and that's actually going to control the weight. And we're going to add some images, texture 2D. Going to place our textures in here. For me, my red texture was sand. Or excuse me, my black texture. That's the black texture. Then the red texture was dirt. And that goes into B. Then we need to get the green channel, but we take the red because again that's the only one that has any data in it. Get another mix node, and this is basically recreating the material that we made in Blender. to place this into the weight. Get another texture. This one was grass 1. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Take that out. And finally, blue. Oops. Another texture. Another mix node. That goes into the A. That into B. Red into the weight. Then we take this. We get a multiply vector 3. And finally, we get the color, the first color attribute that we created. Plug that in. And we put that into our albedo. And hopefully, yes. There we go. Whoa. Camera is fast. And there we have it. Oh, I didn't even create some shading. Let's go back into Blender and just put some shading in there real quick. Let's go to Color, Vertex Paint, put some shadows on this side. Purple shadows, blue shadows. Something like that. And then let's put a orange spot over here. Cool. Export. Make sure we have selected custom properties. Apply modifiers, apply attributes. Reload. I didn't save my material, but I can quick load my shader. And there we have it. We have shading from our first set of colors. And we have texture blending from our second set of colors. And that's it. Using that, you can create scenes like this. Scenes like this. I used it here too. Blending the grass between the dirt. And that about covers it. So hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully that didn't go on for too long. I've been recording for like just about an hour. But my next tutorial will be how to create this water shader. It's similar to the one used in Super Mario Sunshine, but I've modified it, adjusted it to taste. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Have a good day.